Hello everyone and welcome to a socially distanced production here of School Talk on September the 13th, 2022. I am your host, Clay Ables here at WJHI. With me today we have our Superintendent of Greater Clark County Schools, Mr. Mark Laughner. How are we today, sir?
Great. Thanks for having me back over.
Excited to have you in. I know last time we had you in, it's kind of the start of the school year, now getting close to the end of the first quarter. So let's start here because I know we're going to talk a lot about facilities today. I know a while back we mentioned the 5-year plan. So for people that are just tuning in the show for the first time this year, tell a little bit about your 5-year plan and the overall scheme of it and how it all comes together for the facilities in the future of Greater Clark.
Well, when I came on board as a superintendent, I thought it was very important that we develop a 5-year facility plan to address a lot of our aging facilities. And we had quite a few, especially at our elementary level, that needed to be addressed that were nearing the end of their life, in that 50, 60, even a couple of them that are 70 years old. That were costing us a whole lot of money to repair and maintain because they were so old. So we went through a process of doing a feasibility study, facility study, doing a demographic study. We also had a community task force that came together and looked at all that information, and we came up with priorities that we thought the district should address. And then from there we created the 5-year facility plan in terms of what were the priorities for year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4, year 5. And what I want to see happen with the district is that be a rolling 5-year plan, that we're always looking 5 years out as a district on what needs to be done with our facilities. That's what should happen with any big district like this. Unfortunately, we weren't doing that in the past, 15, 20 years. And to have a rolling 5-year plan that looks that far out, and to know that we're going to address our facility issues as they come about in that plan is very, very important.
Now, standing here on September 13th, tell us, where are we at in the 5-year plan? Like what month, what year, kind of give an idea of people of where are we at currently in that process?
In the original plan, we're getting ready to go into year 3. Year 1 was a lot of different items, smaller items such as turf and track projects and some other paving and things of that nature. Year 2 has already been approved by the board, and that's the 2 new elementaries, the one that's going to be built in Jeffersonville on the Wilson property that would replace TJ Elementary and Wilson, and then the one that's going to be built in Charlestown that will replace JJ Elementary and Pleasant Ridge. So we're in year 3. Now what is in year 3 is that we want to address Parkwood Elementary, not Parkview. Year 3 has nothing to do with Parkview, except all we're doing right now is trying to find a site, for a new middle school right now. There's been a lot of talk out there about what's going on with Parkview and where are we going to build a new middle school. We're talking about, for year 3, Parkwood Elementary, which is in Clarksville. It's almost a 60-year-old building in poor condition, costs us a lot of money to maintain. And what we've been told, the cost to renovate that building would be close to the cost to build a new elementary school. And then the other big project in year 3 is addressing the pool issue at Jeffersonville High School. It's a 50-year-old pool that hasn't been touched except for a little paint. So we need to address it. Now, our proposal is going to be that we build a new pool, new natatorium here on the Jeffersonville campus as year 3. And then you get into year 4, year 5. Year 4 of the original plan was some smaller projects once again, like some renovation of auditorium project, doing a soccer field renovation out here, potentially turfing that, more paving, more HVAC work. Some roofing, work that needs to be done throughout the district. To give you an example of that, just on roofing, just here at Jeff High, the cost to re-roof this whole building at Jeff High is $12 million. And we have areas of Jeff High that are needing that, and so we put this plan in place, that we're going to address those things. And that's just Jeff High. That's not including all the other bigger schools we have in the district that will need new roofs here in the near future, and then year 5 was of the original plan, which is 2.5 years away, was the Parkview Middle School project, building a new middle school. So like for the middle school, like I said, right now we're just looking for land to where we would do that. The plan and the hearing for a new middle school wouldn't come for a couple more years. You know, it's a couple years away. But we, you know, the plan has been a good working plan, and I will tell you, we've gotten good support with it, and we hope that our community continues to support what we're doing, because we've tried to do all this without raising the tax rate on anyone, and so far we have, and we feel like in the future we'll be able to do the same thing.
Now, we'll jump around here a little bit with year 3. Let's go back and talk about Parkwood Elementary. I know you mentioned a 60-year-old building, trying to make a new school there. Tell me, what is the process for that? I know we've mentioned before about building, you know, an auditorium. You have to go and you have to get a facility study and go through. When you want to build a new elementary school, specifically Parkwood, what do you have to do to make that all come together?
Well, and going back to Parkwood real quick, initially we were looking at renovating Parkwood, but then what happened in the last year and a half, a developer decided that they were going, and Clarksville approved it, a developer is building 450 apartments right there next to Parkwood. And then there's another 300 to 400 apartments going in right down the road from Parkwood. And that changed our you know, belief or the way we were looking at that, from a renovation to just building a new building, because we would have been adding on more classrooms to a 60-year-old building while also trying to renovate the whole building, and the cost of that was going to be the same or almost the same as just building a new building. So there's a lot of growth going on right there close to Parkwood. But the process is, you know, after we put the plan together and put a budget together, you know, for these projects, we then have to have 2 hearings with the school board. The school board has to hold 2 hearings. After those hearings are held, we then have to wait 30 days to see if anybody disapproves of the projects or doesn't want us to see those move forward. After that 30 days is up, you know, then we can, and nobody objects to the projects. And by object, I mean, you know, no one goes out and gets 1,000 signatures, you know, to try to take it to referendum or anything like that, that they're on board with the projects. Then we proceed forward, you know, with the design, selling the bonds, and then starting construction. You know, and we feel like we have the support of the community, you know, and I think the main reason is we're doing this without raising the tax rate. It's not going to hurt anybody tax-wise. These are going to be tax-neutral projects.
Now we look at step 2. I want to talk about, I know you mentioned it a second ago, we'll kind of try to go in order. With Parkview Middle School, I know last time we met you had a zoning committee meeting and trying to meet with everybody. What's the latest status of that? What are you guys trying to do? I know you mentioned you're still trying to find land. How does that process all come together for you? Yeah,
well, right now we're looking at the Twilight property site, you know, and the other property that set out there on New Chapel and Utica-Sellersburg Road. We're not going to rush things this time. We were sort of in a rush the last time because it went to zoning, and we didn't have a lot of time to prepare concept drawings and things like that. So we're going to take our time. We're going to collaborate with the city and the city council. We're going to come up with drawings that we think would be great for that site, you know, and whether that includes just a school or a school and homes. You know, obviously we wouldn't build the homes, you know, a developer would do that. But we're going to take our time. You know, we feel like it's very important to work with the city council on this and come up with a concept that works there, not just for the city and the school district, but also the neighbors around there. So I don't envision us taking this to city council or planning and zoning until late October or November, you know, because we want to take our time and collaborate with all parties involved, including the neighbors out there, and get feedback from them on what they want to see in terms of homes and a school there.
Last thing we'll touch on with projects, you mentioned the Jeff Natatorium, you know, trying to get a new swimming pool. I know we've broken it down a little bit before, but bringing a new swimming pool in and trying to design and develop that, take us through that, because that's a lot different than building a school. I mean, it's a completely different project.
Yeah, it's a lot of work, I can tell you that. The first thing we actually did for these new elementaries and the pool is about 15 of us traveled up to Indianapolis. We looked at 2 elementary schools up there. We looked at Center Grove's pool. And then we went up to Warsaw, Indiana to look at more elementaries and facilities. And then we start zeroing in on, all right, what do we want for Jeffersonville High School and the Jeffersonville community and the Greater Clark community in terms of an natatorium? Because this is going to be a natatorium that the whole community can use. It'll be a detached building, so it can be used during the day by adults. It can be used by the youth swimmers. I mean, it's going to be a great community resource for Jeffersonville, and will attract a lot of people to Jeffersonville because it'll be big enough to hold USA swimming events, and the youth swimmers will be able to use it, whenever they want, essentially. And then for our swimmers here at Jeffersonville High, it'll be a great attraction and a great facility for them to practice in and compete in. But so that was the first thing, is we went out and looked at other places. What did they do? If you go up around Indianapolis, I mean, all the Indianapolis schools up there have nice natatoriums, nice pools. And we need one down here. I mean, we need one in this area. It'll be great for the community. And then the next step was we had a architectural group that built several of those pools around Indianapolis come up with a pool feasibility study of renderings and drawings of what a pool would look like on Jeff High's campus. And that's actually going to be presented to the school board tonight in a work session. So the pool study will come out tonight, and everyone in the community will be able to see what it's going to look like, which will be a neat thing for tonight. Now, once again, after the work session tonight, then we'll have to take that to hearings. We'll have to have 2 hearings and wait 30 days to see if anybody's going to fight us on that project. If they don't, then we'll move forward with selling the bonds and getting the project started. And hopefully, if everything goes as planned, hopefully by next May, June, July, August, we'll be starting a pool out there next year, which would be fantastic for the community and Greater Clark and Jeffersonville. I will also tell you just tonight, we have a school board meeting. We have a work session after the meeting where not only is the pool study going to be presented to the school board, but also the renderings and elevations for the 2 new elementaries are going to be presented tonight. So you're going to see a lot of things come out tonight that are going to be pretty neat projects and renderings and drawings that are coming out that's going to show the community what we're about, what we're trying to do for all of our communities in Greater Clark and the district. These elementaries, you'll see elevations, renderings, and also I believe they're going to have a 3D animation where you can walk through the school. And we'll share that all out on social media. We'll put it on the website so anybody can click on it and look at it and see what these elementaries are going to look like. The pool renderings will be more slides and pictures, but they're pretty cool also in terms of what that looks like. And so we have a lot of positive, neat things going on. And a lot of that's going to come out tonight, and for the community to see and hopefully get behind and support.
Before we transition into our last topic, when we talk about academies, to finish off with facilities, I think we talked about before the show, from when you started till now, I believe 8 different schools have had either renovation or trying to have a new building of an entire school. When you talk about all these different projects, whether it's elementary schools, middle schools, natatoriums, track field, new football stadiums, all those type of things, people see big numbers and they see big construction projects and all those type of things, but at the end of the day, what value do you think brings to Greater Clark through all that? How have you seen that impacted so far, and how do you hope that impacts it in the future?
Well, first thing is just the efficiency you get, in terms of your budget, that you're not spending money on trying to maintain and repair old facilities. So in your operational budget, you get a benefit right there. The other things are just what it does for students and staff. I mean, the learning environment that it creates, the environment it creates for the extracurricular students, whether it's the turf field or the press box or the bleachers. I mean, when I go to games now, I see excitement that people just love coming to the facility and watch a game because it's nice, and you get more people coming to the games and supporting the athletes, and so that's a huge thing. The other big thing that you get is, and I know a lot of people don't want to believe this, but facilities matter when it comes to enrollment. Parents look at facilities. They drive around your facility. They look at the condition of the facility. not just the school building, but also your extracurricular facilities. And they make decisions based on that and that alone a lot of times. And so that's a huge thing right there, that just having nice modern facilities, and I don't think we're doing anything that's going over the top like other districts have done. We're just trying to update our facilities, modernize them, and make them look nice. That's been our goal from the get-go. And parents want that. They like to see that. And the other thing it does for communities like Jeffersonville, Charlestown, New Washington, and Clarksville is when you have nice facilities and you have people moving in from out of state or somewhere else in Indiana, they're more likely to move to your area because you have nice facilities. And that's going to help everybody out in terms of property values, people spending money in your community, at your businesses, and things of that nature. And so we're a small part of that in terms of what the city's doing, Jeff and Charlestown, but we play an important role in that in terms of development of a community, business development, workforce development, that people, when they move into an area, they want their kids to go to nice schools where the facility looks nice and also there's great academics inside the building.
Here on School Talk today, September the 13th, joined by our superintendent, Mr. Mark Laughner, here with the WJHI studios. Last topic today for you, Mr. Laughner. When you got started, I know we've mentioned a lot about COVID. We really haven't had a chance from when we first started School Talk to now to really get into the academy model here at Greater Clark, and this year is a great time to get into it because now, knock on wood, COVID's in the backside. You can kind of go back to a more normal year. Tell us a little about the academy model at Greater Clark and some of the offerings for students and staff here that not a lot of school districts around here offer.
Yeah, we're the only school district in the state of Indiana that offers the Ford Next Gen academy model, which we think is a huge thing. And I will tell you one piece of data that you can pull for what this does for Greater Clark is we typically have the highest graduation rate in the area. And a lot of that has to do because of our academy models and that every kid, every student in our high schools has a place, has a pathway that they can matriculate through and graduate from, in various ways. And so that's just one small piece of data. When you look at what the academy model does in terms of workforce development for the community, giving kids an idea of what they want to do when they get out of high school, that's so important for kids today in terms of whether they're going into the Business Entrepreneurship Academy or the Engineering Manufacturing Academy. It just gives them so many options to get out there and explore specific workforce pathways and make decisions at an early age on what they like and what they don't like, so that they don't end up spending a lot of time in college and paying a lot of tuition, for classes and a degree that they really don't like in the end, And so we're a small part of the community and workforce development, and our academy model is built to try to help, what's going on in this area in terms of, the labor needs of the businesses that are coming in Jeffersonville and River Ridge and Charlestown.
Well, Mr. Laughner, we appreciate you coming in today and talking about the academies and the facilities. I know you got a school board meeting tonight here on September 13th. Good luck with that, and excited to have you back in here in the future.
Well, thank you very much, and like I'd say to the community, pay attention over the next 3-4 days, week. There's going to be a lot of neat things coming out in terms of these new schools, the natatorium, things that will be really exciting for the district.
Fantastic. Well, we appreciate Mr. Laughner coming in. That's our superintendent of Greater Clark County Schools, Mr. Mark Laughner. I'm Clay Abels here today with another edition of School Talk. We thank you for joining us here on September the 13th. Reminder, you can watch School Talk or listen through our variety of platforms. We're on the radio at 98.5 FM, also streaming audio at WJHI.com. And through television, you can rewatch School Talk on cable 184, along with on the internet at Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram. We'll have the show replay for you there as well. For Mr. Laughner, I'm Clay Abels and our WJHI students saying so long, and thank you for tuning in to another edition of School Talk. This is 98.5 WJHI LP Jeffersonville, the home of the Red Devil Network.